Hello, and welcome to our, I don't know, whatever episode this is of MD-Esti Bestie. I am Dr. Lynn Nieman, your friendly neighborhood aesthetic physician, and this is my Esti Bestie, Tracie Barnes. And today we've had a day.
We have had a day.
Yeah. And I feel like it's actually been a minute since you and I have sat in the same space and chatted. So I'm happy to do this with you. I know.
So we've just been passing each other in the hall like, oh, hey, you still work here? Okay, yeah.
Blessed to be busy, but all the things. So we wanted to talk about a topic today. And the reason why I don't recognize myself anymore is our topic for the day is because I find I'm a person who looks for patterns. And I find that there's a repeating pattern that shows up in my chair of people just saying, I woke up and I just feel like I look like a totally different person, or like everything was fine. And then I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I saw my mom, or, I was just like skating along through life, and I'm showing up in your chair because like I just woke up and I feel like I don't even look like myself anymore. And it's such a repeating pattern and it sticks with me. And I don't know. Do you feel like you see that too in your chair as well?
Yes. I feel like I've even felt that way myself, just like overnight. But yeah, I definitely get that as well from people.
And I think there are like two situations that people tell me when they've made this discovery, which I just want to say, by the way, stop doing this to yourself. It's usually in bad lighting in a bathroom somewhere where someone was like looking in the mirror and they like saw some jowls, or they saw like hollowness under their eyes or something that may have had something to do with the lighting and the conditions. Or somebody took an iPhone picture of you at a bad angle, or in bad lighting, or from the side when you weren't looking. A lot of people who are like new grandmas and stuff who come in, who are maybe like women in their like late 40s, 50s, early 60s, and they're like doing that cute thing with and their chin is back, and someone snaps a picture from the side, and suddenly like, I need to fix my jawline and my chin, and all that brings them in the door. So there are these moments that happen for women where they're just like, oh, I just don't feel like I look like myself anymore. Have you had one of those personally?
I've done it to myself, I know. But yes, I've had some where they will come in and that is exactly what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I've become my mother and I want it fixed. But a lot of it is they are picking themselves apart like we all do when we look at our own self. We're our own worst critic. But we're here to guide them through that and, get them on the path that they feel good about themselves. Because they are beautiful. They're just picking apart certain things that they're seeing. And like you said, from a picture, or, they could have had a bad day and they feel like they look run down. So now they're like, oh no. But it's definitely a pattern.
When I was early on doing some training in aesthetics, I remember very clearly a story that someone told me about these like mirror moments like that, or like people seeing themselves in the mirror and then kind of picking themselves apart. That as we go through our years, we have a perception of ourselves on the inside and maybe that's like what we look like or what we think we look like or something. And then when we catch a glimpse of ourselves and it's not what we internalize, what we in our inner mind think that we look like, and we see this outside picture that isn't what we think it should be, it's upsetting. And that maybe some of our job in aesthetics is closing that gap a little bit. So it's changing that distance between what we feel like we should look like, or what we see ourselves looking like on the inside versus what we see ourselves looking like on the outside.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's somebody with a motorcycle outside. So we have motorcycle noises now as well. I also find, have you found this, Tracie? Has anyone brought you, back up. When I was younger and you would like get a haircut or something, you would like look through magazines, right? And now I guess we look through Instagram or whatever. Yeah. And I do this with my like manicure. Sometimes I'll save pictures of me and I'll take them into my nice manicurist and I'll be like, do that. And I find that sometimes women will bring in pictures of themselves
Yeah.
in here, and they'll bring in pictures of themselves when they were like 20, 25, 30, and they're trying to get back to that place, because I think that's who they see themselves on the inside. That's what they still see. And when they look in the mirror, they see something that's very different than that picture, maybe that favorite picture that they had of themselves at a really important life event. And that's like what brings them in here, that gap between what they see and what they think.
Yes.
My really good friend, I'm on many tangents today. One of my really good friends is a hairstylist, and she's amazing. Shout out to Gretchen. We love her.
Yeah.
And she told me an interesting story, and that's something that she has watched. Her repeating pattern is sometimes women get stuck with a haircut or color that represents when they felt the best about themselves. So like when they were like maybe like living it up in their 20s, or when they were living the most like exciting version of themselves, and then they like stop making any changes. And so that's how you end up with these like women in 2026 who look like they're living in 2020 or like 1997 or something, because that style represented a really significantly happy period in your life. And to change that is to like take something away. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
And that sometimes people are really resistant to change because some of those things like hair really is, they keep it that way because it represents something, even though it might not fit with who they are now.
Yeah.
So I think there really is something about there's something in there to me about getting comfortable with who you are now, but also allowing yourself to say, it's okay for me to want to close that gap a little bit. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
It's kind of complicated, right?
Yeah, it is, but I agree. I agree with that. I think that
how would you say? That's okay. We'll cut that out. Okay. So let's go back and let's talk about, so we take care of a lot of women in our practice. And one of the things that I think we don't do is give ourselves enough credit, because I think that when people come in and the repeating pattern of, I don't feel like myself anymore.
Yes.
One of the very first questions I ask when patients say that to me, one of the very first next things I say to them are, where are you in perimenopause and menopause? And are you on hormone replacement therapy? And I am shocked at how many women say they're in menopause, and then they'll look at me and they'll go, no, about hormone replacement. They'll be like, no, should I be? And I find it shocking sometimes that as an aesthetic provider, I am the first person who's having a conversation or holding a conversation about whether or not someone should be on hormone replacement. And I know that there are a lot of aesthetic practices that offer hormone replacement. We don't typically hear, because I don't consider myself a subject matter expert in that. And so I send people out right now to more subject matter experts in that field. But I think it's critical, if you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror and you say, I don't feel like myself as a woman, it is time to talk to your GYN or your endocrinologist or your primary care person, whether it's your internist or family medicine person, about checking hormones and whether or not you're, having some hormone shifts that deserve to have the proper assessment and treatment.
Absolutely. It's a game changer.
It's a total game changer.
Yeah.
And we know so much more now that the studies have been reevaluated, and we know so much more about the safety of hormone replacement. And so I highly encourage you, if you find yourself in that boat, or you wake up one morning and go like, oh gosh, I just don't feel like myself anymore, talk to your primary care physician, talk to your OB/GYN, or talk to your GYN, talk to your caregivers in your life about whether or not it's time for you to be on hormone replacement therapy. You've got a lot of years after perimenopause and menopause. So many good years. Like, you deserve to have those hormones replaced, and you deserve to have, you deserve to feel your best, right?
Right. And I think once they took that black label off,
yeah,
it just skyrocketed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but still, so many people don't know enough about it that I agree they should speak.
Yeah, or they're still stuck with the notion of the Black label to begin with. And so it's really important to have those open discussions. And for our patients here, we have trusted resources that we send those patients to. But definitely just look in your community. It's important. But then I also think for a lot of the people who suddenly like wake up one morning and don't feel like themselves anymore, let's just talk about different roles. There's motherhood. I went from like, single, hot, married, pregnant. I just had my kids who are crawling over me all the time. And let's be honest, like we can love motherhood and we can love our kids, but it's hard.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's tiring. And sometimes it's thankless work. And you do a lot of things behind the scenes, just doing laundry, cleaning things up, picking up toys, doing all the stuff, the invisible work that nobody sees, right? And you don't have the same time for yourself. You don't even have the same time to have your thoughts to yourself. There were times when my kids were all young that I felt like I couldn't finish a sentence, or I'd be midway through a sentence. Someone would need something and I would come back to a conversation and be like, I have no idea where we were. And that happened. And I think that there's something to you losing your identity a little bit in there. And so there's another reason for people to come up and sit in our chair.
Yes. And I get a lot of that where they want to take care. It's me time now because they feel like they've neglected themselves because, life, taking care of kids, then their kids have grandkids and, they want to start taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Because they put themselves on the back burner. And I think all of us, we do that a lot.
Right.
But, you need to take care of yourself.
Right. Yeah. And then there's even just, I find even in a lot of my friends and people that I spend time with, we've got aging parents. Yes, too. And so there's like another, like, I don't feel like myself. I'm giving all to take care of other people. So my kids are grown and now I'm taking care of aging parents and other things. Truly that sandwich generation. And I think that people really feel lost in that, and that really changes their perception of themselves.
Yeah. Yes. And these days too, I have a lot of patients who, even their older kids, they're coming back home. Yeah. Remember back when I was like ready to get out, I went out and stayed out, but it's a difference now. And then so they kind of go right back into that routine of, back to motherhood, living under their roof again.
Right.
And then they'll start, that's a mother's instinct. We're going to take care of our kids.
Right.
And you stop taking care of yourself. You boy.
Right. No, but I think all of those things, and at the end of the day, I think all of those things, like the emotional weight of all of those things. And then when you have that moment, right? Because you're talking about that moment that you look in the mirror and you're like, I just don't feel like myself anymore. You get so busy taking care and doing all of the other things, and you don't realize until you have that moment and you're like, wait a second. And then let's talk about that takes us, I guess, kind of to the next act of what I want to talk about, which is what happens when that happens at home and then someone calls, they make an appointment with us and they sit in the chair and then they feel bad about feeling bad and almost like guilty, or they need to apologize for sitting in the chair and talking about something that's bothering them. Do you find it hard to give yourself permission sometimes to feel bad about those things? Or do you feel like your patients?
Yes, I have a lot of times where they will apologize as well, or they'll say, something's going on. I might not be able to continue my treatments or what I'm doing because I'm going, I'm doing this. It's like they're apologizing to me. I understand, I get it. But yeah, I get that a lot. I mean, as far as.
Yeah. And so in the practice here, I mostly see our new patients to come up with plans. And then I also see all of our, a lot of injectables patients. And so we're doing neurotoxin or biostimulators or filler and things like that. And for me, a lot of people apologize and they want me to really be sure that I understand that they're not vain and that they're not they don't think they're all that, or they want to be really clear with me about the reasons why they are getting the treatment that they're getting. And I just want to say, like, baby girl, it is okay. Like, I opened this business because I care that women carry themselves with confidence. And so I don't think that, like, me personally, I am not at all offended by the fact that you want to better yourself or you want to walk with confidence. And I've often thought to myself that if there's something that bothers you, if you just you don't like your under eye, or you feel like you lost volume in your cheeks and so you look tired, and you come in here and you have a treatment, what I think is that if you feel like you look tired, you're going to walk through life carrying yourself like you are tired, right?
Yes.
And so if you come in here and that's your complaint, and then you say to me, but I don't like, but but I like things natural. I never done this before. Like all of those things, like all of those things aside, if we do a treatment here that makes you feel less tired and you can waste less time of your life worrying about that and more time in your life going out and doing awesome stuff, like I am for that 100 times out of 100 times, right?
Yes.
And so I just think that it's important for patients to know that I think that's where we come from. That's our North Star.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so since that's our North Star, you just don't have to apologize.
And I think what I was trying to say while going picking the words out, I'm stroking here. It's a day. They'll feel guilty. Yeah, that they're spending that money on themselves.
100%.
That's kind of where I was going. Like they feel guilty that they're spending the money on themselves when they know they should, or they in their heart like, oh, I should maybe give this to my daughter or something, But it's okay to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to take care of yourself too.
Right.
So we're here for that.
Right.
Free therapy as well. We're here for that.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that's what I really love about what we do. Is we really listen and we're here for them and we understand that, because us as women, we feel the same way. So yeah.
And I think even just sometimes validating someone's beauty, because we've said this before, I'll repeat myself. Like I can walk in a room and anyone sitting in that chair, there is something beautiful that I will immediately just like lock in on. And so everyone brings that intrinsic beauty with them. And some people go, oh, everyone's beautiful within. Absolutely, 1,000%. But I will challenge you that like I will find something beautiful on the outside too, that I think is like, that is striking, or that is so unique to you, or like, I don't know, people are just beautiful. I think people are beautiful.
Yes.
And so because that is my starting point, I just think that you just don't need to feel guilty about telling me that there's
absolutely
something that you want to achieve.
Yes.
Together.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway.
But you're really good about comforting them as well and making that aware.
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to you.
Thank you. I have a question for you, because I think that sometimes friends or spouses, and this is a really interesting thing, friends or spouses or people who go, you look fine. You don't need Botox. You look fine. And then you have this person, because I've had people in my chair whose their husbands have said one thing to them at home and they end up in my chair at all. And I will tell you that if getting an aesthetic treatment is going to cause friction in your marriage, like don't do it. Like I don't want to be a part of like creating a situation between people. But I will say that sometimes our husbands don't understand and sometimes our friends don't understand, but sometimes it's dismissive to say you're fine. And that might be how your spouse feels about the way that you look, but it may be this invisible battle that you're having inside of yourself, that gap that we talked about, the how I think that I am on the inside and how I am on the outside doesn't match, or I'm not feeling confident. But when someone says, oh, you're fine, I think that really diminishes the experience that you go through the world, having. And it's real. I think it's important when people validate our experience, not validating beauty or not enough beauty, not validating like right proportions or not right proportions, but validating the experience that you're having. And I think that's an important conversation that we need to have in aesthetics, which is just validating someone's lived experience.
Yes. Just because they don't see it or they think it might be silly or whatever the case may be, you're feeling that inside. So you're right. The validation of just support me on it, or, yes, because I think if us as women, if there's something that we pinpoint about ourselves and then we come here or wherever and you get that in your mind, it's fixed. It's so much better. I don't have the hollowness under my eyes. You're walking out feeling so confident.
Yeah.
So, and validated from within. So it's like you can't really, not dismiss, because I'm opposite. I'm like, it shouldn't cause any friction in the household. I think you should be able to do it.
Yeah, no. I know, but like it comes down to you. But yeah, but I just think like also at the same time, like please don't put us in that position.
Absolutely, yes. Don't tell me this, and I got Botox.
Yeah, well, we never would. We never would tell. We never would tell in the first place. HIPAA and all. Oh my gosh. So I think that another thing that happens, I would say, I have this story to tell you, and it's not exactly making the same point, but it is an interesting point. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but like I've done some really cool things in my life, and there was a time when I was like running pretty frequently, and I was running in our neighborhood. It's like shortly after we moved to Winchester, and I was just out for a jog, and I ran past this house, and there was a young girl. She's like a teenager, like 16, 17, so like an older teenager, out in her yard, whatever. And next couple of days, like ran by her again. And then like at some point I saw her on like a little running trail, and she was like going for a walk or whatever. And I just like chatted with her for a minute, and she said to me this sentence, and it stayed with me to this day. And she said to me, well, I was training for a half marathon at the time. And she goes, well, I figured if some mom could run a half marathon, then so could I. And I just felt like, that's it. I've been reduced to some mom. And like, that's okay. Like, I'm like, I'll take it. Like, it's fine. Because we were having like a kind of funny conversation. But that stuck with me because all of the other stuff that I've maybe done or accomplished in my life. And here's another woman who reduced me to some mom. Mm-hmm. And I think about as women age. And so like when you are some mom, or you are some mom of grown kids, or you are some Karen at work, or you are some boomer, or you are, like all of these things that we do to really make women who have experiences and have wisdom and have all these things like smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
That's true. And so I wonder sometimes if some of those people show up in aesthetics because they're looking to be visible.
Like that.
I just wonder, like every now and again, I wonder when people are sitting in my chair and we're having a conversation, and I think to myself, is this because you want people at your work to see you differently? Mm-hmm. Are you feeling invisible? Do you want to be seen in a different way? And so, but like that's kind of a line of questioning I sometimes find myself going down with people, because I think back to that comment, and I think back to myself and the way that I responded to it. I was like, and by the way, I was like in my like 30s or like early 40s at the time. But like I just think that that's like an interesting, like I don't know. I just wonder if people are trying also to be visible in a way when they feel invisible.
Yeah. I think mine was probably the first time some young kid said, ma'am or something, and very polite. That's what you're supposed to do. But I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. You clearly didn't raise your kids in Texas and North Carolina, because they were like They were like, Miss this, Mr. this, ma'am that. Like,
Yes, ma'am. Oh, okay. Come to that now.
gotcha.
No, but I get it. It is a South thing too. I get it. It's fine.
Gotcha. Well, listen, let's talk about a little bit about what it means to you. Like if I said, Tracie, what does it mean to age gracefully to you? What do you think that means? And then also, like if you maybe took that a step further and then said what you think like the general population might think and like where those two things are different.
Aging gracefully, yes. I know like we should own the wrinkles and everything. We've earned that, right? I'm not ready for those. So, and that's probably society as well. They see, because I look at people, think back to years and years ago, somebody in their 50s, they didn't look 20 or 30. They looked 50.
Yeah.
Or
older.
Well, yeah, or older, yes. So this day and age, it's if you're 50, well, they're all looking 30. So I think a lot of it is, I agree with aging gracefully and everything, but I also agree with doing things that make you feel better and make you feel better about yourself. I'm coming to you every 3 months and I want injections or whatever, but I'm aging gracefully. I'm owning that I'm 51, but I don't want to look it. But, I think that's just women in general. I think it's also society does play a part in that as well. They can be harsh, but I think it's a new era where I feel like it should be accepted more. To answer your question,
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a stereotype of aging gracefully that people often talk about in my chair. And I think that the reference to that is more of like a do nothing approach. Like I should just accept however, like whatever changes happen to my body, whatever changes happen to my hormones, whatever changes happen to my hair, whatever changes happen to my face, like, whatever. I should just accept that's aging gracefully with acceptance. And I think that's right for some people. And like, that's totally awesome if that's for you and that's the way you feel best and your insides match your outsides that way. I think that's totally fine. But we also know in our culture, there is a real benefit to looking healthy. And whether or not that's longevity for professions, even men, but certainly women, longevity in your profession for looking a bit younger and looking like healthy and fit, you are going to do better and have better longevity in your career and better pay as well. And so I think that there is also a way of, I think a lot of people today, not to like, if we went back 50 years ago and looked at 50 and like look at 50 today, I think people are much more health conscious. They're eating better. Their life expectancy is, we all want to live independently and well into our 80s, right? And beyond if we can. And so I think we all have in our heads the notion of we're going to live independently in our own homes, doing all of our stuff, all of these things until the day we, meet our maker. And so if that's the case, then we want to feel our best all the time. And when you're fit, when you're exercising, when you are, your house is in order, right? Life is in order. And you want to look, and you want to look the best on the outside as well, because you want that to match where you feel like your life stage is. And so if you are just doing nothing, that would sort of be like, in my mind, equivalent to just like not exercising, because you're just going to accept whatever comes your way. But if you're a person who exercises and really pays attention to your food and diet and really pays attention to, microplastics and pays attention to what surfaces you cook on and all of those things, it makes sense to me that you're going to pay attention to also what you project to the world. And I don't know, some people will probably look at that and call that vanity, but I just think it really is complementary with the way that I think a lot of people live this way or live these days in terms of what their, these micro interventions and all of these different parts so that they have great longevity and are living, as long as they can, as healthy as they can.
Right.
And so I see the aesthetics part of that is also part of our longevity. Because I also do think when we feel good about the image that we're putting out there, and that can be different for every person, but if you feel good about the image that you're putting out there, that's giving you confidence to do the rest of your life.
I agree. Yeah.
And when you have that confidence, that's just going to play well into all of the other things, like keeping up with your exercise, keeping up eating well, keeping up, like all of those other things, so that you are continuing to, just continuing to live the way that you want to live.
And some things too, like if someone noticed, oh my gosh, you've been working out, you look great. Well, then that's a booster as well. Or if they come in and get something like sculpture with you, and 2 weeks later, someone's like, wow, you get enough rest? That's what it is, but really it's just those little things can make a difference in your confidence as well. Like you said, how you carry it.
Yeah, I think so. But the goal is never for my 65-year-old patient to end up looking like their 25-year-old picture that they bring into the office, right?
Right.
That's unrealistic. We can't do that. And so it is living the best in your skin now and today. And so that's why when you say sculpture or things like that, those little like those little tweaks or those little treatments make such a huge impact and difference. And again, at the end of the day, the goal is feel your best, project confidence, and do your life that way. And so if there are small things that are keeping you from living your life confidently and getting out there and doing your best, then let us help you.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I'll go for it.
And so question, is confidence something you have or is it built? What do you think?
I think it's a little both. But, I do think that if you're feeling really great about yourself, you do have more confidence. So I think that's a little bit of both, because I have confidence inside, but I could look at a picture and be like, oh my God, but I'm going to get a bigger bit of a confidence when I have something done, so I don't know. I think that's a tricky. I think it's it's in there, but
yeah. I think there are some people who have more innate, just like bravado or confidence than other people. But I do think that I would say with my own self, I feel as I've gone through my own years and decades, like a certain steadiness and confidence now that 20 years ago, I didn't have the same steadiness and confidence. And so at this point in my life and in my professional career, it would be so sad to me if I were being erased or made to feel invisible because I'm not 32.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like, whoa. I have a lot to bring to the table, to teach and to share and to help mentor and foster other people's growth. And so for me, I would say personally, some of that has just come through work, personal work, all of the other things. But then for me, also just feeling like I do exercise, take care of myself, do the other things, do the other tweaks, because I feel like that makes my outside match my inside. And that allows me to stay really grounded in that confidence. So I think mine is I have a child with a loud confidence, but I myself, I think have a quieter confidence about me. And that's just come from, I think just years of building that grounded and that centered feeling over time. And I think the aesthetics has contributed to that. It's not the only thing.
Right.
And so I think that's what separates it from just pure vanity. Right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's a great point.
Because that would just be focusing on just the looks only.
Only, yes. Yeah.
Gotcha. So for somebody who's feeling stuck at home or they feel like they've looked in the mirror and they're like, oh, like I don't feel like I look like myself anymore. Like what advice would you give to that person? Whether it's just like life advice or aesthetics advice or treatment advice, like what would you, like how would you counsel that person?
So they take that step, come in and speak to us, or if you're going someplace else, go speak to them about that. Tell them how you're feeling, because one little thing could just make it better. And it might not be, we're not talking facelift or anything,
right?
So come in, let's talk about it, and let's get you to where you are starting to see yourself again, and the way you're feeling inside.
Yes, and yeah, no, that's really good. I would say to a person like who maybe feels kind of stuck that way, don't be afraid to talk about it with people you trust. And in the aesthetics world, like we are in our practice, we've got an age range here. We've got practitioners who are in their 30s, and we've got girls who work in our office in their 20s. Our office manager is 60. And so we're like through the gamut. And if you walk into a med spa and you're looking for an aesthetics practice and you're looking for a practitioner, and there are ones out there where it's like it like skews very young or skews very mature. But if you walk in and you're like, I don't feel home here, I think it's okay to be like, I'm still like, this isn't me being vain, and don't be made to feel a certain way at a place because you feel like you don't meet their demographic. Go and find your people.
Absolutely.
Go and find your people. And don't be afraid to be real, because I think that you will find more sympathetic ears than you think.
I agree.
Yeah. And I think that you have the opportunity to find in those vulnerable moments, especially in an aesthetics practice, I think that you will find people who have similar vulnerable stories in their background, like some mom running, that they're willing to share with, like funny stories that they're willing to share with you that may not be the same, but they touch those same things because we all experience such there's the universal experience that we have when we all feel those moments of insecurity or those moments of, I want something better for myself, or I want something different for myself.
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
I agree.
There you go. Alrighty. Let's ask this question.
Okay.
Think of a patient who you think like just does it right. Like that person you admire and you're like, oh, like you are my spirit animal, who's just like doing it right. And I could think of like a couple people in my head when I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be just like.
That's what I'll do with them too.
And so what is it that they do? And what is it that you could tell anybody who's listening? Like, what are those things that they do that you're like, oh, you're just totally living it right? Aging right, making decision-making right, girling right, womaning right. Like, what is it?
So there's one that I have in mind. She comes here and like every time I see her, she just carries herself well. She could be in jogging pants and a t-shirt. I'm like, that the girl's killing it. It's the way she carries herself. She takes care of herself. She tries to, hair's done. You can just tell that in my mind, she has it all together. I feel like, wow, that's who I want to be when I grow up, because she comes in, she just doesn't have to say anything, but like she just takes over the room, and not trying to, and also very humble. So I feel like, she takes care of her hair, her skin, she works out, she, what she wears, everything, her family means everything to her. And she's a deep down good person. And I just love that. So there's quite a few of those that I could think of out here, but there's one right now in my mind in particular. Might be the same one you're thinking, I'm not sure. But I don't know. But yeah, I feel like she has it.
Yeah.
But very humble, and I love that too.
Yeah.
She's not boastful about it. She just feels good with herself, and it just shows to everybody. She's not even really doing anything in particular.
Yeah, that positive energy. Yeah, no, that positive energy that she's like spilling out on other people.
Yes.
And yeah, I think that we do have a lot of people like that. But I really admire people who fully are comfortable with themselves. I always admire people. I'm pretty, you can't tell on the podcast all the time, but I'm typically pretty introverted. And so like I live a lot of my life inside my head. And so I really admire women who come in and they're very just vulnerable and honest with me, like just out of the gate. And the funny thing is, even though I live my life mostly in my head and I don't do that very often, like I'm always like, rock on with your bad stuff, girl. And also it makes me feel closer to them, and it makes me feel like I understand them and I can actually give them a better treatment. And I'm admire that very, very much. And I think that we've got patients, like I'm thinking of somebody who is one of our mature patients who still comes in with like little glitter and feathers. And who I'm thinking of.
Yes.
And it's just so her. It is 100% her. And it doesn't I don't think that everyone in her particular age group would necessarily do that. And I don't think that everyone could pull it off the way that she does, but it is so her. And I just think, know yourself, be okay with yourself.
Yes.
And be honest with yourself. And when you do that and you carry that energy with you, it just radiates. And if we can do anything with any of the treatments that we do to help you radiate even more, like all the better.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
But
we're here for it.
And we are totally here for it. And a good glow up, it makes us so super excited. And mostly because I think at the end of the day, again, it's not about changing. It's not because we have a beauty ideal, but it's normally because the person whose glow up we're all excited about feels so good about themselves. One of the things that I've noticed, Tracie, before we kind of wrap this up, is a lot of times when I'm doing a filler treatment where we've done kind of like maybe a bigger plan where we've done a lot of balancing, or we've done something, or we've taken someone from like a journey, they've lost some weight, we've done some sculpture, we've done some filler, like yada yada, and we're like doing that kind of final like before and after picture. Just the look in their eyes in that before picture, and then the look in their eye after they see themselves with that sort of more completed look, and that look that's just pride, a little like happiness, like a little disbelief, a little just relief that things went well, all of those things. It is powerful stuff.
It's priceless, actually. I mean, and I've even seen where people have come in and I'm like, oh, really think they need anything. And then after they've had the little something with you and they go just like, dang, girl, I didn't, it's like, wow, just one little tweak and you just look so different. And I didn't even think you needed it. It's amazing. But you're right, the confidence that they get after that.
No,
and just that, yeah.
It's powerful. It's the change in their smile. And you can see it, but like when we do before and after pictures, and it's not what's changed on their face. It's the look in their eye.
Yeah.
It's the energy that people carry in their eye when they're looking at the camera in those after shots that you're just like, okay, like you're feeling that, it's really nice. I see you.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I think that we've talked about all sorts of things about that moment when people say, I don't feel like myself anymore, what maybe some of those contributing factors are, what we think about, what of that is bunk and what of that is real, and encouraging you to listen to your inner self. And it's okay to live and want to live as the best version of yourself.
Yes.
And what that looks like in walking in confidence, and what that means to kind of radiate that confident glow, and what that really does for the people around you.
Yes.
Changes the room.
It does. It really does.
Like Tracie changes the room. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up MD-Esti Besties this time. And we will look forward to talking with you again soon. We're going to talk about, we've got a show planned on social media and how it's broken our brains and Instagram face and all of those things. We're looking forward to talking with you about that. So keep tuning in, and thank you. We've had some really nice feedback about these clips that we have been doing. And so we thank you for the time that you spent watching us. And we hope that we give you something to think about, and keep tuning in. We love you.